is also, I have classes with about 12 people in them. Like math recitation, when they go over your material more in depth, you can kind of get that more one-on-one interactions with your teacher. But yeah, in the larger classes, they can get pretty big. Um, and yeah, I would say the difficulty mainly comes from the difference in like you. Most of your grade comes from exams in college, like, not really homework. So you're gonna be doing a lot more studying, like they mentioned before, which is where I think a lot of the difficulty comes from. It was a big difference for me since I didn't really study in high school either, and um, after the first couple exams, I didn't study a whole lot in college, and then once you start taking or learning material that you didn't already know in high school, that's when it starts getting you. So you have to start studying eventually. Um, Professor expectations. I think the professors they do care about you, but they do hold you responsible. They won't really cut you any slack if you wait to turn anything in. But they do care about you. If you go in and talk to them, they'll try to help you out and get you what you need. Um, I'd say for technology, yeah, I pretty much just used my laptop for everything. Um, we did, there were some classes where we got out special equipment that we used to like program and code and stuff like that. And next semester I'll be taking an engineering graphics class, which will be like making stuff on that. So yeah, that's about it.
So my largest class was about 120, and my smallest class was 8. So there's a wide range depending on also if you're taking gen eds and upper level courses. I can speak. Professors' expectations, they're gonna be where you can actually get a 0, unlike high school. So if you don't actually do your work or if you just write answers, it's just gonna get crap grade. Difficulty, I didn't have terribly much difficulty since I'm just fairly well read and traveled. But that's probably going to change. Like Calc 2, Calc 1 was fairly easy with taking calculus in high school, but Calc 2 is going to be pretty difficult. For taking notes, what I noticed is if you're actually taking notes, you typically have pen and paper. And whenever I see people in lecture halls with laptops or iPads or whatever that is, they're typically playing games. Like in my geology course, there'd be people sitting behind me doing fantasy football or something like that. So if you actually want to learn stuff, I feel like you should take pen and paper notes because you're getting the physical movement of that, and which that studies have shown that that actually leads to better retainment of that information. And also, you're not faced with the possibility of accessing the internet and going and watching YouTube videos of cats. And so, what I use my laptop for is geology projects and writing papers and Netflix.
So my largest class was probably 25 people. The smallest was probably about 20. They're all about that size at K-State because there's not very many people there. K-State's aligned anyway. Um, the professors obviously expect you to study. They want you to do good on the test, but as they said, you can get a 0 if you don't try. It's not like they're going to keep telling you, okay, here you go, keep studying. It's like, you got to do this on your own now. You're on your own. Homework, I had homework about every night. Most of it was reading assignments. I had an intro to aviation class, which is a history on aviation. There's really good history books. I had no problem reading that. But then you get into your intro to critical thinking classes, and you have reading assignments, and you just want to burn the book. It's terrible. But you have to read it, and you have to retain the information if you want to do good in the classes. The weird thing about K-State Polytechnic is all essays are in APA. So I would recommend learning that if you're going to go there. Along with the phonetic alphabet, you have to know that if you're going there. which is like A is Alpha, B is Bravo, C is Charlie, so on and so forth. It's an aviation-based college, so you have to know that stuff. Group work, we do a lot of group work in the intro level classes. My orientation class was, I don't want to sound mean, but it was a waste of money. It was terrible, but you can fail that class and it will show up. So you have to show up and at least try.
What do you do in the orientation?
What we did was they taught you how to take notes, which we've been doing for 4 years. I already had it down, so when I got to that part of the class, I was kind of ready for it. They teach you how to find good sources, which isn't very hard if you know what you're looking for. They teach you how to use K-State's database, which is actually nice because it's a lot different from Hutch's. And they teach you how to, it's like a mini speech class too. So you'll get up and give a couple speeches, which 2 minutes in length is nothing. So you can, if you're good at public speaking, it's pretty easy. If you're not, you kind of have to push through it. I know a lot of people in that class who are not very good at public speaking, and so they had some trouble with it, but it's just people you know. They're not going to judge you on your speeches. Just get up there and talk. Written papers, I wrote one. It was a final, and it was my first APA essay I'd ever written, and I got a 90 on it, and I was like, holy crap, how did I do that? So, yeah, that was kind of nice. Technology, this semester I haven't used my iPad at all, other than for Spotify. Next semester, I will have to use it for drones. It's required by campus to have one. So what I would recommend, if you're going into the UAS program, buy an iPad Pro, because they've got the best processing power, and by flying drones, you're going to have pretty much the newest one. Also, it's going to last you 10 years, so. But laptop I use every day. Math homework was online, so I used that, but I'd have pen and paper nearby so I could do it written out. Get on and check your email every day. Get on and check your Canvas every day, which is what K-State runs on. Yeah, it's just a lot of repetition. If you can get your schedule down, you can do good in college.
Thanks, CK. Quick question, we'll go right back to you here. Where are we at? What was the biggest challenge you faced? Let's go down the line.
For me, the biggest challenge was the number of people in college, because I get overwhelmed if I'm around too many people, and that's why I chose K-State Polytechnic, along with I had the degree. Just adjusting to people that you don't know. I knew one person going there, and so it was kind of a shell shock when you get there and you don't know anybody. But by the end of the semester, I have at least 10, 15 friends there, plus a regular basketball club that I go and play with just about every night. So, I mean, you get to know people pretty easy if you get involved. Do clubs. I'm in the UAS club. Major specific clubs are very important, because when you're getting hired, they're going to look at what you were in, and if they see major specific clubs, they're going to know that you have experience in the field. And so, I mean, that's already putting you at the top of the list. Also, look for like leaders conventions, like the AFA Leaders Conference. I got to go to that, and I've already got connections in Bayer, Trimble Navigation, MKC, which I already knew some people there, but it's really nice to get to go there and talk to people. Just throw your name out. That's an agriculture conference, but no matter what you're in, there's always going to be conferences like that. There's professionals always looking to hire, so get involved. Internships are amazing. Apply for them. Even if you don't get them, you get your name thrown in the mix, so just keep applying. The thing I was well prepared for was the cost. I knew that was coming, and I was kind of expecting it. And when I got there, I was like, okay, this is less than I thought it was going to be, so I'm happy.
CK, do they have dorms, Polytech?
Yes, they have 2 dorms, Schilling and Harbin. Schilling is the bigger, nicer one. They're putting in kitchens right now. Free washing and drying of clothes, so those are nice. Decent internet, better than home, so can't complain. And everything is centralized except for the aviation building, so everything is within 500 yards, and then the aviation building is, I'd say, probably half a mile away, which is not bad.
Caleb?
So I didn't really face many challenges this last, except for social stuff, so I'll probably talk about that later. But my main things for my adjustment, I feel like if I hadn't traveled or read, college would have been a lot more difficult for me. So I would encourage people, like, if they can, travel is difficult, but if you can experience a little more of the world, I would encourage you to do that and read a lot, go to museums, like the Cosmosphere is an amazing space museum. It's world class. And like that's where I would say got most of my information because personally, high school didn't really push me. The only class I was challenged in and I felt that really prepared me for college would be calculus. So I would encourage you to take that, but do what you need to do to prepare yourself and think about what your future is a little bit at least. And think about, so I like engineering. So maybe read a few engineering books, or you like biology, go read a short little thing about a person living in the rainforest. And even if it's like, there's books where it's a novel, but it's also informational. And those would be a valuable asset if you don't really like reading informational things. And so I would encourage you to find things like that and get your feet wet a little bit and go more in depth than just high school stuff.
So one of my biggest challenges is probably the same thing, the shock of not knowing pretty much anyone. There are a few people up there that I do know, but I don't see them very often around campus, but I think we're going to be talking about that in a bit. I'd say one of the biggest challenges is probably the responsibility that gets put on you next year. I was decently prepared, I think. I didn't have too hard of a time adjusting, but I mean, you really realize that everything's on you. Like, it's all your responsibility. You do how good you want to do. So, I mean, if you really want to do good, you can try hard and work and get everything done. But yeah, there's no one. Your parents aren't there to help you or whatever when you're on campus. So you pretty much got to do everything on your own. But it shouldn't be too difficult if you're just responsible enough to get everything done.
Going from high school to college wasn't that hard. Like, it wasn't that big of a transition because I was in classes with some of my friends from high school, so it wasn't too difficult that way. Challenges, I guess it's just the material, I guess, is a little bit more challenging. I didn't take a biology class since my freshman year of high school, and then I went to college and I took like biology 1, so I didn't take an intro to biology or anything, so that was really challenging because I didn't know as much as I thought I did. So that was challenging, and by the end of the semester, I didn't really feel like I was prepared for anything. It was kind of just like, I'm going to be more prepared next semester because I'm going to have better study habits, but yeah.
I'm gonna quick interrupt again. Kyler mentioned your parents aren't there to help you, but there are resources at your college. There's tutoring resources. You can get help with writing papers, speeches, language, math, sciences. There's also places to help you in career sources. So like you can get interview practices. People can look at your resumes or your cover letters or things like that, and you can get help from them for that. And also your professors, they're not going to bite you. Like if you just approach them, they're teaching a subject that they're passionate about, and so you're gonna get the best help you can by going to your professor during their office hours or setting up an individual appointment.
The biggest challenge I faced was my study habits. I had awful study habits, and so I took anatomy and physiology, which is a 6 credit hour class, and so that was one class that was basically like half a semester like worth of studying. Does that make sense? Like, it was a lot of studying, and if you didn't study, you would have failed. And so I didn't do as great as I wanted to in that class because I did not study, and because I didn't think I had to. But you do. And so like Lily said, next semester, like I'll be studying way more because I'm taking hard classes again, and I'll need to. I felt prepared for, I don't know. I felt prepared, but going into it, I found out I really wasn't, kind of. And like CK said, the cost, I was prepared for the cost. I saved throughout high school. Even though I'm on scholarship, I'll still need to save for like K-State because that'll be expensive. So, yeah.
I think my biggest challenge was time management because I was so busy because I got done with class at about 11:20, so I'd go and eat lunch, and then I'd have to go to practice at 1, and then if I worked that night, then I'd have to go to work after that. So just like fitting in homework and studying on those busy nights, that was kind of hard. That was a pretty big challenge that I had to overcome. I felt pretty well prepared for everything, note-taking. I think the hardest thing, though, was studying because I've never had to study so much before because I kind of just floated through high school and did pretty well without studying. And, yeah.
Quick question for all of you that are up there. I know all of you took college classes in high school. Good thing, you regret it. Seniors are done with it pretty well. But for the juniors, sophomores, freshmen, what would you advise them? Should they load up in college classes if they qualify, or does it help you, hurt you? Just quick responses.
I'd recommend taking college classes in high school. I think that really helped me because it like introduced me to what they were expecting, like the professors were expecting. So I think that was really good for me that I took those in high school.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think they're great. The one class that I wouldn't recommend taking if you're going to either K-State campuses is human relations because it didn't transfer over because there was no class that was the equivalent. It's an extra college credit, but they can't transfer it. It really does help prepare you. I would recommend taking as many math classes on community college campuses as you can because it's easier. You're not going to have to like press your time. And if you take them online, you can set up a separate time to do it. You can set up like your own class period to take those online. And so it's just a lot easier if you do take math classes through community college is what I would say.
For me, the college classes were beneficial, but something I would advise you to look into, if I would have taken more than 15 credit hours at McPherson College, I would have been considered a transfer student at Idaho State, and I would have been out a ton of money. So I would caution the underclassmen to look into that before they potentially lose. I'd be losing $40,000. So it's important to look into that.
Anybody else on that one? And Chandler, let's go back to you. One of the last things here, guys, I know we need to get you going. Caleb, it's almost 10 till. I don't know when you need to leave, but if you can hang on a couple of minutes here, we'll get you done. Last thing, and then we'll let you guys ask them questions if you want to. Just one piece of general advice, and then we'll close it out.
Just when you go into college, just study and don't procrastinate. Like I know some of the seniors, you're waiting to get your scholarship stuff in. Don't wait on those. You want to get those in as early as possible. Yeah, just don't procrastinate because pretty soon that deadline when you need to turn your paper in is right there and you haven't done it. So.
I'd say just manage your time well. Like study and work hard, but also have like a social life and meet new people because college is like where you'll meet like some of your good friends. And it's easy for me to meet people, so I've met a ton of people and I've had a good time, but like kept up with my studies.
Best advice I can give you is to learn good study habits now. I know that's kind of hard because in high school probably a lot of you don't have to study, but just do it so that when you get to college it's not just foreign concept to you. And also make sure that when you get to your senior year you do take those college classes because it's really good. I'm getting my associates this year because of all the college classes I'm taking. And I took in high school, so. just do that, and that would be good.
Yeah, I'd say just make sure you're working hard enough. Be responsible. Don't do anything stupid. So, yeah, that's about it.
My advice would be to find a good group of friends and find, like, if you're religious, find a good church or synagogue or whatever your thoughts are. And because I'm 1,000 miles away from home, and the first 2 days I was there, it really sucked. But then as I got going and started doing marching band and had the new student orientation stuff, I met a great group of friends, and they're like a second family to me. So college will suck if you don't have that social support behind you.
I've got a couple of things. First of all, you learn how to use Microsoft products because basically all colleges use Word, Edge for your email, Outlook, and just learn how to use all that stuff. Second off, if you're interested in flying, go to an airport and set up a flight, because if you are not sure that that's what you want to go into and you end up going to college for that, you're going to waste a lot of money. It's not cheap, but in the end it'll pay off. I think the average pay for an international pilot is $170,000 a year, plus they pay for your hotels and stuff. So if you're interested in flight, don't be scared away for that costs, because in the end it'll pay off. Drone pilots, not so much. The flying, you pay for 1 year, you get pilot's license, you do an instrument certification, and then you're good to go. But yeah, if you're interested in flying, set up a flight and go, because you want to be sure. And you can start when you're 16. So if you guys are interested in that at all, maybe not McPherson because their pilot just left, but go to Newton, go to Heston, go to Hutch, go to any of those places and you can set up a flight. It's an awesome experience, and if you want to go in that, I'd recommend it.
One last thought before I leave. Idaho State is a small enough campus that freshmen can get involved in research and things like that. And so I don't know what it's like at K-State or WSU or anything like that, but professors will notice you if you come up to them and say, hey, what sort of things are you working on? What are you researching? What are the new things that you're doing? And like a few of my friends went on a whitewater rafting trip, and they left with a career path internship. So they're getting paid, they're getting experience, and they're doing things. And like I've been involved with a honors project. I got involved with working on Craters of the Moon, and at the end of that, it's something that I can continue and use as a thesis, use as a job, use to gain experience and to gain a lead in internship possibilities. So I would encourage, if you're doing research or if you're doing anything like hands-on like that, I would encourage you to just talk to your professors, see what they're doing, and they'll get noticed.
Yeah, a lot of college is just connections to like the next level of where you want to go. With me being in the athletic training program, the head athletic trainer at Hutch is actually friends with Fred Hoiberg, the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. So that's a pretty good connection for me if I ever want to go over there. Or he's also friends with the head athletic trainers and the team doctors for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Royals. So just get connections because you never know where they could lead you.
I just got one last thing to say. Visit as many colleges as you can because you want to find the college that's the best fit. I knew I didn't want to go to a huge college. Like even K-State was too big for me. I'm not comfortable in that many people. And so I went and looked at K-State Salina. I went to Hutch for a little bit, which, I mean, I could have gone over there, but they didn't have anything that I was really interested in. But even if you're not interested, it's worth a look because if you feel comfortable at that campus, you can take gen eds there. I mean, you can get stuff out of the way, even if it's the same price as another college. Just find out what's comfortable for you and do it.
Yeah, we'll open up for questions at this time. So you want to pop your hand up, I'll bring the mic to you.
What's the
best thing you like about college? Like, what's the best thing about, like, what do you like about college?
I like dance team best about college. It's a great way to meet an awesome group of girls, and I love dance. I've always loved dancing, so that's what I love most about HEC.
I'm involved with the ambassador program, and so I've met a lot of cool people with that, and we all mesh and we hang out, and so that's fun.
My favorite thing about college is the freedom, just because you get to do whatever you want, but you also have to be responsible. And I also enjoy the athletic training program. That's my other favorite part.
Yeah, I would also say the freedom that you have, but yeah, also be responsible with that freedom. So.
I personally like the flying, but I also like being away from home. It's good to have some space, but it's also nice to be able to go back home on the weekends, and I'm close enough to do that. And I just say, like they are, don't be stupid. It's college. Everybody has this idea that college is going out and partying, and just don't mess with the stuff. Just don't mess with it, because I know people have gotten kicked out of college because they go and do something stupid like that. Just don't mess with it.
Other questions?
Hi guys, thanks for coming in today. So a quick question about like your budget and how you kind of survive your semester based on all of your expenses, and how your scholarships have helped with that. Kind of looking back and reflecting, would more scholarship money have helped? What are some of the financial aid opportunities that you're taking advantage of in this? Like, what are your expenses as a college student? What does that look like?
Well, right now, I'm still living at home, so I can live there for free. And I have 2 scholarships, one through Bogies and one with athletic training, which pays for books and tuition, which is really nice. And I also still work at Bogies, so I still get money from that. So I guess I'm also getting paid to go to school. Like, I'll get a check. I think I already got it, though, for taking the Step Ahead program by doing college classes in high school. So that was really nice.
Yeah, like Chandler said, I have a lot of scholarships, which is good. I got my books paid for and my tuition paid for, and they also gave me a refund check of like $900, I think. So I use that money for like next semester if I need it, because I'm on scholarship then too. But I work at Genesis, and that brings in money, and I live at home, and so all I have to really pay for is gas for my car.
My budget is pretty much every time I go to a quick shop, I hope I have enough money on my card to buy my drink that I need. But like school-wise, I'm good. I have all my scholarships, and I get a dance scholarship and the presidential leadership scholarship through HEC. So I get my refund check, and I get my books and tuition paid, so I'm good that way.
Yeah, scholarships definitely help, but at K-State, since I'm living in the dorms and I have the food pass and everything, I pretty much don't really have to buy anything while I'm up there. I think really the only things I've bought are a lab manual and some food because they don't serve food on Sunday nights. So that's pretty much it.
For me, the biggest expense is gas, driving from McPherson to Saline all the time. The dorms, I think, for me were $6,000, which scholarship covered. Tuition altogether was like $2,200, which scholarships covered. What was I going to say? Plane expenses are a lot. I think for my pilot, $40 for the instructor plus $75 per hour for the plane. So yeah, it's kind of costly. But scholarships do help. Apply for as many as you can, even if you don't actually, like you're not applicable to the scholarship, just apply to it. You never know. Sometimes it'll happen, sometimes it won't.
Anyone else? All right, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you.